Hey guys, welcome to a very different video where today I'm showing how I make the thumbnails that you may have seen on many videos on my channel in which I complete namings and crap like that. Most recent one of which I made is my rupture thumbnail, which you should see about right now. There's a certain way I do thumbnails, and it's one that I've learned before through a tutorial that I remember seeing, and I was like, oh, I could do this, and that's how I pretty much got started with thumbnails. So let's get started. So pretty much what you're going to want to do is open up GD first before Photoshop, because the thing is you're going to want to get a screenshot of whatever level you want to do. For this example, I'll be using Windy Landscape, and make sure if you're using V7 that you don't have any distractions like in your status. So let me just do that real quick. Make sure to check, and as well as make sure to check all your screenshots. I like this one a good bit. I think it will work. So then you close GD, and then you can open up Photoshop, where the first thing you can do is make a custom one, whatever resolution you want. Just make sure the screenshot will fit. For this, I'll be using 16 by 900 because that fits the screenshot resolution. I'd recommend putting it in black. And then you place your screenshot there. And before doing anything with text at all, just make sure you rasterize this, because we're going to do something with it later to give it more of an effect with the glow. Before you even get started with the text, make sure you have a font that you want to use, such as any of these. Just make it work for however you like. But usually one that you're going to want to find has to be at least a little bit thick. I'd say the minimum that I'd want to go is like something like this in terms of what I want to do. And but in this case, the one I'll use is this one, because I think it looks pretty nice. So what you'll do is you'll install the font, and then now you can get started with your text. So what you'll do is find your font first, and then just a good rule to keep is make sure when you are picking your colors, which I'll be doing right now, make sure they don't clash as much with the background. Just make it to where it looks a lot like how the background is, or at least the background color, but not so much that it clashes. It does like a big handful of stuff with the text. Using your eyedropper would be a good thing. Would be a fine thing to do. This I'll actually lighten up a good bit. Change the scale however you want, and then what you'll do is you're going to put satin onto it now, and then whatever one you want to choose that looks good to your mind. Once again, make sure just go with however your mind takes you with this, but for the text I'll be teaching you how to do that mainly. Usually the recommended one is Gaussian, because it has a good, it doesn't make it have any like, it doesn't like kill your eyes or whatever. There's multiple ways you can do this. It can be darkened with 50%, or soft light all the way up, which gives it more, crisp look to it. And I'll keep it like this. What you'll then do is click Inner Glow, and for this you'll want your choke to be 18 and your size to be 3. This gives you very good crisp lines that will work pretty well with this. And make sure it's on color dodge, because when you work with text and when you're extruding it, it will make it, if you don't put it on color dodge, it won't like leave the color as good as you would think, because it's just white if you put it on like a normal setting or whatever. You're pretty much done with that part of the text, and what you'll then do is Rasterize Type. And this basically it transforms it into a full image to where you can now edit it. And then what I like to do is go into edit and then go to transform and perspective. This is where you can kind of get creative with how your text looks and how you can view it from certain angles and stuff like that. Make sure it's not so elaborate that it looks weird or whatever. And then another thing you can do is not free transform, warp, where, and usually you want to use these because the thing is, I don't know if you want to do this at all, but a good one to do is flag. Make sure you relax it a bit. It would give it a good kind of curve to it without distorting it way too much. And then what you're gonna do is it takes a lot of copy and pasting to get the text extruded, and now we're going to extrude the text as I just said. And what you do is you press Ctrl J and then whatever direction you want your text to go. In this case, I'll make it go up 1 and left 1. Do this as much as you want. But usually with this, you want to end on even numbers. So I'll end on 14. The reason why I'm ending on 13 is because this is not counted as a copy. And then what you'll do is put all these except for the top layer in a copy. And what you'll do with that group is click on the circle right here and hit hue/saturation, and this will let you darken the text however you feel like. For this, I'll go 45. A good one, it's usually 45, which is the sweet spot for that. And then I'll turn up the saturation just a bit, not so much because it will look not that good. I'll go with 75 for this, which is also another recommended one for this. Not always, because it can vary whatever with the colors and what you choose for your gradient. You'll go back to your top copy, and then you go back to your blending options, and then you'll pick bevel and emboss. And usually you want soften to be 1 and size to be 3. Unless of course you want it to be 1, then to each their own. Not much that is changed on the structure, but with shading, there's a lot of things you can do with it. For one, is highlight mode. Highlight mode, to get a good one, you're basically gonna have to find the darkest color in the whole background. I'll try the one in the background of the screenshot, which is this. And basically just play around with it. And then your shadow mode, you can do this to whatever you like. I'll put this at 0 because in this case of the text, I like how it looks at 0. And then you're done with that part of the text for now. Next step is you'll merge your group and your human saturation layer together, which makes it one full layer. And then another thing you can do is, not another thing, but this is the next step, go to your gradient overlay, and then go to your basics, like your blacks and whites and stuff like that, and then you hit overlay on your blend mode, and that kind of gives it another good level of shading. Like this. You can kind of see the gradient as well. Yeah, and I like how it is right here. And then another thing the next thing you can do is hit satin and give it another good layer of shading. For this, I'll actually use darken. What's next is you click inner glow once again to give it more, so that way it doesn't look very empty when it comes to the backer parts of the text and all that. But this time, you're going to want your choke at 3 and your size at 18. We're not quite done yet. You're going to select both of these layers and merge them together, and that is that's your text, basically. And what I will do after is I'll copy that, and then go into filter, go to filter gallery. And this is where you can get pretty creative with the type of effects you can select and stuff. There's many different combinations you can do. Another good one you can do is glowing edges. Pick color dodge, and you can see what that does. And just copy that again, and then go to sketch and pick chrome, and make sure your detail is at 10 or whatever you want. Same with the smoothness, it could be whatever you want as well in the for this I'll put it on overlay because it starts to get a bit precarious once you do that. If it does and it gets a bit too bright on some parts, take your eraser and then put it down to 50 and then erase parts that you don't really like in it. You can do the same for this one as well, just in case you're not very fond of how bright it looks. And remember, this is all up to what your mind says. You can make this look however you want it to. And you can, another rule of thumb is turning down the brightness sometimes on some of the layers, because it will, just in case they're a bit too intense. And that's pretty much it. I'll flatten those, not flatten, but I'll merge those layers together. And then what I'll do after that is, I taught myself this trick when I made my rupture thumbnail about yesterday, and that is, first you'll do an outer glow of whatever color is usually the darkest color. Make sure your opacity is down on it, so that way it doesn't kill your eyes that much. And you can see it has like a good border around it. And stuff like that, and that kind of gives it more of a depth to the background. And then what after you do is put your shadow, and then make sure the distance of it is about 15, and then the size can be whatever. Turn down the thing to that, and then now you've made the text a bit more visible and a bit more eye-catching to look at. And then what I like to do with the background now is I'll take the screenshot that I just did, and then I'll copy it, and then what I'll do with it is I'll put on a Gaussian blur that is usually 5 pixels for the radius, and then I'll put on something such as lighter color to it, which gives it kind of a bloom effect. Screen also works. You could also do possibly livid light, or hard light. That also works pretty well. And then see how that blends with your text. Just go with the flow of whatever it is. Let's just check one more time. So yeah, I'll go with linear light, and that's the thumbnail fully. Or no. That's your thumbnail basically. There's not much you can really do with this now. Well, I'll then take a color correction just take a color correction from whatever pack you have, and then add that on top of your thing. Make sure to rasterize it, because for some reason you can't move it like that. Hit it over there, and then see what fits it the most, such as this one.
You want whipped cream?
It's your choice whether you want to add it to on top of your text or not. For this, I'll use color burn and then change it to like 75, and that's pretty much your thumbnail. That's your whole thumbnail.